You know, I just got something that bothers me. You guys ever have friends out there that you love and you adore, but you see that they're their own worst fucking enemy, and all they do is complain. They complain they don't have money, complain that they're tired, complain that they can't get a job. And the whole time they do have money, they got a job, they do everything, but they just like to complain. And then when you confront them and you say, look, you know what? I really don't want to hear this anymore. Then they get offended. Then they get mad. Then they take it as if you're attacking them personally. No, the reality is we don't need to listen to the shit that our friends. If you want to be a good friend, tell them the truth. Be transparent. Be polite and nice about it. But when the time comes and they're not going to change, then tell them to fuck off. I want to welcome you back to My Opinion, You're Welcome. It's a beautiful day. We're going to delve into some new things and try something different. Can we get this stuff rolling, please? All right, first one. Trump pleads not guilty to plotting. It's amazing. He himself believes he's never done anything wrong. There's so many people in this country that believe he's never done anything wrong. So you got to take a look at those people and what the fuck is wrong with these people? It's been proven. It's been shown. And they think that he's going to be the president again. If he is elected president again, assassination attempts are going to be higher than they have been in the last 30 years. Not just from a physical point of view. This man is going to hurt people. He's going to destroy other people's lives. Doesn't matter, man, women, color your skin, your religion. He's done and said so many pathetic things. He should never have an opportunity to be president. And let's hope that all the Republicans who are backing him and all the women who are backing him come to their senses and realize you're backing someone who's demonic. All right. Then we've got, it's an interesting one. You got a young man that passed away, Angus Cloud from Euphoria. And I believe I read a statement where his mother said he didn't mean to do this. From my understanding, he overdosed. Drugs kill you. I deal with it every day with clients and families and people and rehabs. So many people out there sadly think, I'm just going to try one more time. Look, those of us who's dealt with eating disorders, sex addiction, and gambling, we can try those one more time. But when you try lethal cocktails of any type of drug because you want to get high or you want to feel better, there's a lot going on. Sadly, this young man doesn't have a chance. Hopefully he rests in peace, or whatever the demons are that drove him to do that. Hopefully he has a better life after this, because I do believe people do have lives after this. Now, here's an interesting one. A woman married herself. I'm not sure how that happens, but the bottom line is it happens. She's 77 years old. I don't give a shit if she wants to marry the Phantom of the Opera. God bless her. She should go and do it. She should enjoy herself. She should have fun. The good thing is now she goes out for dinner. She only has to pay for one, gets dinner for two. She goes to the movies. She gets 2 free tickets. There's a lot of things she can do now and pretend to be others. I think we all have different personalities. Sometimes we like to pretend to be people. Now she honestly can. She could be her husband, her wife, whatever she wants. I think it's cool. This kills me. Florida, what kind of state? They might as well separate Florida and make a different country for all the racist, prejudice, bias individuals in politics. To ban something when psychology is out there, or when school history is out there, when history, you're trying to eliminate history and state it never happened because you don't want the white people and the white kids to look bad or think bad about themselves. Look, I don't think bad about myself because of things that happened in history. I feel bad, but I don't think bad about myself. So I don't think a lot of people are going to feel bad about themselves. And the reality is we do have the LGBT community. It's real when you're trying to pretend it's not. No one's out there trying to convert your child. They're telling you the truth. A lot of people, as we all know, a lot of people don't even know about depression, anxiety. They don't even know what they deal with. But when they see someone who has talked about it and who's dealt with it, they have an opportunity to say, you know what? My God, I feel that. So this is just ridiculous. It's another pathetic state, a group of politicians, and not the state, it's the people that run it. It's just really pathetic. So hopefully, sooner or later, they won't be in office. Now we've got Lizzo. Always interesting when you have someone who's in the public eye, who's talented. That's one thing. We're not talking about that. But when more than one person comes out and says that they've been shamed, sexually harassed, all these different things. Here's a woman who's embraced her size, embraced her sexuality. I remember once she went to a Laker game and she had something on and she had a G-string on. I could care less. But When these other people feel as if something was wrong and something was violated, it needs to be investigated. Look, a lot of people are going to go after celebrities. That's not even a real word anymore. People with money, let's say that. Now, if these people, if it's justifiable, they deserve whatever they get. She deserves whatever she gets. If it's not, it's just someone trying to tarnish someone's name. And it happens a lot. And realize some of these people that are going after her are women. So you really need to listen. If one woman's accusing another woman of something, listen, don't just say someone's bad, someone's having a bad day or some bullshit like that. But hopefully it gets investigated and it gets done right. What do we got here? Arkansas highway left a mess after truck spills nacho cheese. You know, it had been really nice if it was a holiday. Just you think about it. Nacho cheese, chips, salsa, beer, for all those people who don't have jobs. I think it's interesting and funny. Probably not funny because whoever drove that probably might not get paid that day or all that food's gone to waste. But think about it. It happened in Arkansas, not a civilized state. That's what I got to say. The next one we have, whistleblower tells Congress the U.S. is concealing multi-decade program that captures UFOs. Well, you've met my co-host at times, Tony, and she probably wrote this article. But the interesting thing is, this is someone who has some intelligence about this, and I don't mean that this person's intelligence, but they have some details about this. I think it's pretty interesting that it should be continued to look at. They have to exist. Other planets exist with people. We can't be that arrogant to think that we're the only ones. I mean, if people can still live in the Amazon like they did 100 years ago, then there are other countries, other worlds, other planets, probably more sophisticated, probably down here with us right now. Hell, they could be in the room with us. Who knows? I just think it's interesting, and it's always fun to keep exploring. Controversy influencer Andrew Tate released from house arrest in Romania. This was a while ago. You know, this guy's an interesting case. You either hate him or you love him. I don't do either one, to tell you the truth. He seems very misogynistic. Well, it seems. He is very misogynistic. He always says, I'm telling the truth. I'm being transparent. So you either take it the way it is or it's not. He's annoying as fuck, him and his brother. No one cares how much money. Every time you talk about your cars, you talk about girls, you talk about money. That's great, but what else? And you got arrested, interesting, for trafficking, but you didn't do it. Where would anybody get the idea that you were part of that? I'm just curious. You live in a country, interesting country, that arrested you and you're still there. So how did you get out of jail? What did you do to get out of jail? So all these things are still out there. But here's a guy who really is out there trying to teach men how to be men. Let me ask you this, and basically let me fucking tell you this. If you need someone to tell you how to be a man, that's a little sad to me because you are a man. You need someone to tell you how to feel. You need someone to tell you that it's okay to feel. These are different things. But all these different courses out there, how to be a real man. Look, I don't know what the fuck a real man is. And the reality is just because you got a dick doesn't mean you're a real man. So get a little better at this thing, Andrew. And, please stop making the videos that just drive everybody nuts. Nearly every prisoner in Louisiana's death row filed for clemency this summer. Well, wouldn't you? For crying out loud. Why would you want to be on death row? It's God only knows. So many people are on death row around the country, and their death is prolonged because they could file appeal after appeal after appeal. Look, the reality is some people deserve to die. I know people don't want to hear that. They definitely do, for what they did, the heinous crimes. And we have such amazing laws that allow people to live forever and ever and ever on death row. I mean, look at some of the killers in the past. Look at Charles Manson. Look at all these different guys on death row. They keep you got more rights in prison than you do as someone who's working, paying taxes in the United States of America. It's just a bunch of bullshit. Montana, otter attack leaves 3 women hurt, including one flown to the hospital. Have you ever seen an otter? They are busy little bastards. They got them little teeth that'll gnaw right through you. First of all, what are you doing close to an otter? Do you think it's cute? Are you trying to take a picture? You're trying to pet the little guy? Anything that's wild is something you have to be careful. And it's really important that you have to do that. And hopefully these ladies are okay. But the next time, stay in your lane. It's like the other day I saw a lady. She held a baby, and she was about 20 feet away from a buffalo. Buffalo. Baby. Doesn't go hand in hand. It's like anybody who uses mayonnaise on their French fries is wrong. Just like the baby, the buffalo, and the mom. 87-year-old woman fought off intruder, then fed him after he told her he was hungry. Now that's fucking awesome. Many times you see it's an 87-year-old grandma. It's always a lady beating the hell out of somebody. But what an amazing story. Probably this lady's heart is of gold. Who knows? But, sadly that someone would attack someone that old. But the fact that she fed him, I'd like to know what she fed him. First of all, did she feed him a good meal, or did she slowly try to kill the son of a bitch? You never know. Could be rat poison. I know my grandma would have given the guy rat poison. Cyber attack has disrupted hospitals' healthcare service in several states. Yep, that has happened. Why in the world would anybody want to do that? How many people do you want to hurt? Everything is so much into computers now. Everything is on, different things, but files and this and that. Why would you want to hurt people in a hospital? So many sick people, doctors. You want to hurt somebody, find some individual, do it the right way. Now, I don't know what the right way is because I'm not part of that organization. But the reality is that is just sad and pathetic that someone would go that far to hurt people for their own shits and giggles. Now, here's one that always interests me. U.S. Border Patrol agents discover 7 critically endangered spider monkeys huddled inside migrants' backpack. Who the fuck cares about the spider monkey? First of all, these are people that are trying to gain freedom. These are people that live a horrendous life. Why would you want to leave someplace unless it wasn't good for you? Trying to come to a better place. The other day I'm driving. This is 2 days ago. And I see people on top of overpass about building the wall still. Are you fucking kidding me? And here's the reality. Every one of those fuckers is white. So you think about it. If you don't want people to come from other countries to come here and help our economy and help us, then you go do the fucking jobs. Everybody to me that I've met, and I've worked with many different people that have come from they want a better life. If you want a better life, go get it. Don't blame somebody else for taking your fucking job. But this is the most ridiculous thing in the world. Spider monkeys. And I understand there's animal rights people out there, all that great thing. Hopefully the monkeys have a new place to live. And hopefully he wasn't arrested for having endangered animals, because in this country, they'll arrest you for having all kinds of shit. All right, 2 Navy this was a good one. These 2 freaking geniuses. One of them been doing it for a few years. Think about this. Everything is electronic. And if you're in the Navy and you're meeting with someone from a different country and they look like they're from a different country, they don't sound like you're from America, where are you meeting them at? A fucking coffee shop? At a porn shop? Where are you meeting them? And to not think you're going to be find out. But the worst thing is, why would you do this? What do you gain from this? Notoriety? Do you want to spend the rest of your life in prison? Do you want to be known as a traitor? I don't get it. But hopefully these guys, if they did what they're accused of, hopefully they're prosecuted to the fullest and they never see daylight again. Alcatraz, bring it back. That's all I got to say. Then we have rabbits have overrun a suburban Florida community. Volunteers hop to the rescue. First of all, really? Could you come up with something more original, hop to the rescue? Now, if this was around Easter, probably a little more fun, a little more this and that. But the bottom line is they're fucking rabbits. They taste good. And I don't know about you, but when I was a kid, I had my lucky rabbit's foot. Never brought me shit. Still doesn't bring me shit. Every time I get a lotto ticket, I rub it on it. Oh, sorry. I don't mean my rabbit's foot. How wine and candy helped an Australian woman survive 5 days in the bushland. First of all, do you think that she did it on purpose so that she could have the wine and the candy and not have to report to anybody? Why the fuck are you in the bushland? Why are you by yourself? Why do you not have a guide? Are you that arrogant to think that I'm going to go and look at everything? Last time I checked, it's pretty desolate, pretty boring. Want to get one with nature? Sit under a tree. But the reality is, I'm pretty sure the wine and the candy didn't save her life. It had to have been God. I truly believe that. Take that to the bank, motherfucker. The U.S. gender pay gap narrowed. Huh. Isn't it amazing? Hey, hold on.
You have a caller.
I'm in the middle of a podcast here. Let me call you right back. Oh, okay. That was one of my fans. But here's the thing that kills me. Why should there be a fucking gap? Are you being penalized because of your sexuality? Look, women in this country are penalized because they're women when it comes to the pay equality. I don't give a shit. I've known it. I've seen it with my mother, my grandmother, my great-grandmother, women I know now, women I knew have ever known. It's interesting. But gender pay gap narrowed.
Now, That was a spelling error.
Oh, well, what the fuck?
Gabby just... Gabby...
What's wrong with Gabby? What the hell is she sitting? Gabby, as you know, she's our Irish girl. She's here. She's back in school.
So the U.S. gender pay gap narrowed. She wrote the U.S. gender pay gay narrowed.
Well, let's go back to what it was supposed to be. The gay pay. Yes, so now we do realize if she wrote it, it's real. Gabby's a very interesting young lady. She speaks 9 different languages in her own head. But the reality is, so it's the pay gender. The pay gap between full-time working women and their male counterpart. Okay, you know what, Gabby? Next time, don't fuck me over like this, Gabby.
She got you good.
She got you. I'm reading this and I'm like going, God damn, who the fuck created this article? What jackass, like, you know what? We're going to see all of West Hollywood, you make less money. But you know what? Think about it. Possibly is true. True. That people in this country, when they find out your sexuality, or they find out something they don't like about you, they want to use it to you and not pay you more. It happens all the time. But yeah, the women in this country are paid less. And I don't care what anybody says. Throughout history, women have been the backbone of many different things. And to have that pay gender, and here's the thing that bothers me. I talked about this earlier. A lot of women in a lot of industries don't really support each other. They create more competition for each other. They don't want to promote other women. They don't reinforce other women. You hear it, you talk about it. Sometimes women are their own worst enemy. But the pay gap should never be different. I mean, if you have the same job, the same duties, why would a man make more? It doesn't. This is not the old wild, wild west where you just go shooting people and, you know, the whole world is about men being in charge. No, it's not, guys. No matter what you think, you're not in charge. It needs to be equal. That's for damn sure. And for those women who have kids, and for those women who are going to have kids, for those women who go through the medical issues and everything that women go through, they need more time off from work. They need more equality when it comes to health care in this country. And every woman, men deserve it too, but every woman, when the time you're born, I don't care what age you are, should have free health care in this fucking country. But we can't because we're American. Donald Trump is one of our heroes. Fuck you. Florida school shooting to be reenacted as part of civil lawsuit. That's a tough one because in order for them to win their case, I'm sure that's what needs to be done. But it's a lot of traumatizing, re-traumatizing people. Hopefully they don't ask people who were part of this to be part of it. But again, you think about it. If it needs to be reenacted, is it the prosecutor or is it the complaint? Who's the one that wants it to happen? That's the interesting part. If it's the prosecutors, if it's the government or the state, then you're doing a real shitty fucking job. You're making a lot more. It's difficult. I hope that hopefully they're able to figure something out so it doesn't go that way. Then we have ringleader of NBA healthcare fraud gets 10 years in prison. Now, this is a funny motherfucker. The reality is, I have another show called Living in My Mind. And when I first created Living in My Mind, one of the individuals who was my co-host to be is one of the gentlemen that went to prison for this. And the reality is when you do something, there's always a consequence. 10 years for this gentleman. There's a lot of things you could read about him. Arrogance, ignorance, greed. I don't know the whole story, but when you're dealing with the feds and you're dealing with health insurance and you do something like this, you deserve whatever you get. Because there's nothing that you can say when there's a paper trail. Insurance companies, I deal with them every day. They have everything documented. Doctors, you have doctors. But the killer is this is a ringleader who brought in other people just about money, probably didn't tell them all the consequences could happen. So he deserves every damn day he spends in prison. That's for damn sure. Chinese zoo goes viral as it denies its son bears are humans in disguise. Damn, that's a big-ass bear. Yeah, that's a bear. That's a human being in there. If you ever get to see this picture, it is one ugly-looking bear because this bear doesn't have a big belly. Its neck is about 3 feet tall. It's waving with its hands. That's an interesting-looking bear. And maybe only in China they have these bears. I don't really know. You know, there's so much going on out there. It's just so fucking frustrating in our society nowadays. You know, it's like, here's a good example. When you're driving and you come to a stoplight and you pull up to next to somebody, I don't know if they're deaf, but their music is just pounding. Now, you do this in certain areas, you can get a ticket. But it seems like people think that everybody else wants to hear your music. We don't want to hear your music. Shut your fucking radio down. Stop blasting it when you're at a stop sign. Another thing is, I don't know if you know this, out in the Seal Beach area at the base, they told the public that, you hear certain things or sounds and everything not to worry. Well, hell, if you hear things that sound like a bomb, you're damn well going to worry. How many of you like sports? Okay, we got great sports. Now it's football season. I'm a Bears fan. I know you're probably saying, oh, poor fucker. It is poor fucker. But the bottom line is we got football back. God, it's great. And what's interesting, I always think it's interesting. You have sports reporters and you have sports broadcasters. There's amazing reporters. There's amazing broadcasters. But God, some of these people, it's the same thing over and over. ESPN fired all these wonderful people. They have something called First Take, and then they have another show, Get Up. Well, Get Up is before First Take. It's the same damn thing. And then when this guy, Stephen A. Smith, starts to talk, you just want to say, Jesus, take my hearing away. It's the same thing. This is the only man I know on sports television that talks about himself in a third party. He also is very misogynistic, makes all these demeaning comments around women and towards women. Nothing ever happens to him. I wonder why. But we got football back, college football. So basically what we have back is a multi-billion-dollar business that everybody likes. And speaking of football, I don't know if you know, a couple of years ago, they had a kid who was the number one draft pick with the Raiders. I believe he was number one in the first round. And he was high or drunk or whatever it was, and he was driving his car over 100 miles an hour and he killed somebody. He just got 3 to 10 years in prison. Deservedly so. But I'm a little confused. 3 to 10. How do they figure what he's going to do? 3 to 10. You should either get 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What do you get off of good behavior? The reality is you killed somebody. You were arrogant. You said you didn't do it, but you killed somebody. You should get exactly what you deserve, the maximum, not minimum, because good behavior. What the fuck is that deal about good behavior? People getting out of prison. Now, there are a lot of people in prison who don't deserve to be there, busted for weed, some certain other things. But when you take another person's life because you're an arrogant asshole and you think because you're an athlete, it doesn't work that way, my friend. It doesn't work that way. Another thing, I don't know about you guys, but the weather. It's been very psychotic around here. We're in Southern California. Raining, hot. I was invited to go out to Palm Springs where it's 116 degrees. Really? If I want to melt, I'll turn on The Wizard of Oz and watch The Little Wizard. Watch her, and I'll watch The Witch. They can melt together. But no, it doesn't work that way. Another thing that's bothering me, I got all these things on my mind, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, I don't really know. How many of you live alone? Me. How many of you, when you hear something at night, you think, oh my God, the world's going to end. Someone's going to break in. Someone's going to kill me. I'm so freaking paranoid. I'm paralyzed. Me. Last night, I'm laying in bed about 10:30, and I'm watching this great fantasy about witches. It's a great show. I'm not going to tell you because Netflix doesn't pay us to talk about these shows. And I heard something that sounded like a cat. Then I heard something sound like a baby. Then all of a sudden, I heard something that sounded like a cat and a baby combined, scared the living crap out of me. So I get a flashlight. I go outside. I'm looking around, and all of a sudden, something scurried. I'm a grown-ass man. I ran back upstairs, locked my door, shut my windows. I didn't know what the fuck was going on. So what I'm saying is sometimes we get paranoid, and it's okay to get paranoid. How many of you out there are trying to lose weight? Probably quite a few of us. We try. We do this. We do that. We always listen to what everybody else has to say instead of listening to your body and your mind. You always want to say, well, if that athlete looks that way, or if that model looks that way, or if that fitness person lives that way, or if that person wrote a book, or now they have these new weight loss. It's like, Jesus Christ, we know what to do. Sensible eating, whatever's sensible to you, but eating things that make you feel good and don't make you full and don't make you feel really bad or depressed the next day. We all have those answers in our head, and I know that's someone who deals with an eating disorder and someone who's abused myself on my mind for years. So when it comes to weight loss, do something good for yourself. You don't have to listen to other people. You know the answers. You don't have to pay millions of dollars for all these different drugs or, Weight Watchers. Isn't it funny with Weight Watchers? You look at the celebrity spokespeople and you wonder, they join Weight Watchers, they lose weight, but they've gained the weight. Now, I'm not knocking that and I'm not shaming anybody, but if you're going to promote something and you yourself can't do it, it's false advertisement, number one. It's pretty damn pathetic to me. That's the way I look at it. So another thing is, How many of us, when we go out, know how to fucking tip? Not many of you, I can guarantee that. I was listening to people on the phone the other day talking in a conference call, and one of them was talking about they're going out for their birthday, and the other person said, well, out of nowhere, do you plan on tipping? And they said, well, if the service is good, if this is good, it's like 20 different things. And I'm thinking to myself, this person's going to bring you food, going to help you. It's amazed how cheap many people are. They could look at something and something went wrong. They're like, I'm not going to tip you. But a lot of waiters and waitresses make their money off of tips. Don't be cheap. You know, give them, they're providing a service for you. And don't think you're just something special because you're gone to a restaurant. No, we're not. Treat them the way they treat you. But remember, that's what they're there for. That's their industry. And people say, well, we don't need to tip. Yeah, you really do. You really do need to tip. It's the right thing to do. Stop being stingy and cheap. Oh, and another fucking thing, when people ask for things free at a restaurant. You ever been in that situation, Mar?
Oh, yeah.
Have somebody? I went to my favorite place the other day. This lady sitting next to me. I swear to God, there was one little bite of a hamburger. She said there was a hair in it. But I love what the bartender said. He said, ma'am, what color's the hair? She said, blonde. He goes, you got blonde hair. And he walked away. She demanded the restaurant manager come over. So I'm sitting there and I'm listening. And I just got to the point where I don't care anymore. So I said, ma'am, can I ask you a question? On your sweater, you have a lot of blonde hair. She looked at her sweater. She didn't say anything. I said, so it possibly could be yours. And second of all, I don't want to hear it anymore. You came here to get a free meal. God bless you. If they give you a free meal, they're ignorant. The fact that you would make yourself look so bad, so petty, so cheap in public is pathetic to me. Either eat your meal, pay for it, or just don't come back in. I got called names, which were pretty funny. She asked me who I thought I was. I said, well, ma'am, I'm the second coming of Jesus. That didn't go over well either. I was just having fun with it. But the reality is so many people do that. They go in looking for a free meal. I mean, if you're that pathetic, don't go to a restaurant. Don't do that because you take away from the hardworking people that bust their ass. And if you really want something for free, here's some advice. Earn it. Pay for it, then go home. That's how it works. What about movies? I haven't gone to see Barbie yet. How about all these grown-ass men that are out there whining and crying and saying it makes us look bad? Look, for how many years have this whole world said that it's ran by men? Barbie's got every right to do that. It's a movie. Think about that. And at the same time, what the hell is his name? Meyer on HBO. Bill Mayer, the comedian. Seriously, you got a hell of a pulpit. You had made racist comments. You're still on the air. You advocate for pot. Nothing wrong with that, I guess. And you're saying that they beat men up? Jesus Christ, they should be beating the shit out of men. It should be equal at some point. Don't mean that literally, unless you're a Trump fan. But the reality is, why? Why are so many men coming out and saying it bashes men? How many movies sexualize women of all ages? How many movies put women down? How many movies make sex objects? How many movies have taken advantage of the female roles? There's tons of them. And here's a movie directed and written, and I believe she produced, by a female. Here's the thing that gets me. It's made $1 billion. You don't really see a lot of people talking about how great this director is. She wrote this movie with someone else, I believe. She deserves the accolades. She did an amazing job. Everybody did an amazing job. But men, stop whining and crying. It doesn't have to be. It's like you white supremacist fucks who think that you're the only ones that are pure. Hate to break the news to you. Any of you white supremacists, KKK, whatever the fuck you want to call yourself, very few of you started here in this country, your ancestors. So they probably had a little dick in them from other countries. Not saying your moms and sisters and aunts and whatever, uncles aren't pure, but I'm pretty sure we all have something other than pure. I don't even know what the fuck pure white is. You know what that is, Mark?
Pure white?
When people say we're pure white, I don't get what that is.
Yeah, I think it's different because it's like white coming from Europe versus born in America but
yeah, I don't think there's anything like that. But when you have a group that believes it is, it's just all these things that happened on January 6th. These guys are You know, there's an article today, a guy was going to be an actor, and now he's going to jail. Hate to break the news to you. I doubt the guy was ever going to be a fucking actor. Because if he was going to be an actor and he had the ability, probably wouldn't have been there. Oh, here's another thing that I talked to someone about. When you label yourself something you're not. I work with doctors, and I'll find out they're not a doctor. They're like they're a doctorate of history, a doctor of something, but they're not a medical doctor. They call themselves doctors. Or in this industry and living in Los Angeles, and when people say they're an actor, what have you done? Well, I did theater at Cambridge. I'm like, really? Cambridge, Massachusetts? No, Cambridge Grade School. It's in Idaho. I'm not knocking you, but don't feel as if you have to pretend to be something to make people like you. You don't have to, for Christ's sake. Just because you tell somebody you're an actor, you're a writer, you're a director, in this town we've got so many. And you might be, but if that's your only way of looking at life, is an identity like that, it's really pathetic. I have friends who tell me they've written things. Hell, I've written things. I'm seeing it out there. If it ever gets done, yeah. But when you've actually done it, like example, you, Mark, you know, one of the producers on the show, he's done it. I talk to people all the time. I'm like, oh my fucking God. Half the time you go to a restaurant, I hear people have a conversation. You don't know if they're practicing for their acting class and having a conversation, if it's fucking real. But have the decency to respect yourself enough. It's like people ask me what I do. I work in the mental health field. There's other things I want to do. If they've come around and they do well, that's great. But that's what I do. And it's not what I am or who I am. It's just what I do. So give yourself a break. Stop telling people something you need them to hear just because you want praise or you want them to think that you're doing something really great. No, we got this writer strike going on. Not just the writers. I think it's selfish of both sides to a degree. Not just the writers are suffering. It's the people on the sets. It's from down to the wardrobe, to the catering, to the drivers. All these people who've had nothing to do with you wanting more money, which you deserve to a degree, but you're putting other people out of work. Are you selfish? You're damn right you are. Are you right in asking for what you're asking for? Yes, there's a combination of both. But you're not going to get everything. And the same thing with actors. Think about it. How many actors are you seeing now? Like you have, I think, Billy Porter, great Broadway actor, great. If you ever get to see the remake of Cinderella he did with Camila, the singer.
Camila Cabello?
Oh, I believe that. Freaking awesome. Best Cinderella. Screw the first one. Best Cinderella. You know, he's talking about having to sell his house. Well, here's one thing, too. Just because you're in a field where you make money, athletes deal with this, celebrities, so-called actors, actresses, social media people, you spend all your money. It's no one's fault that he has to sell his house but his own. Spend your money wisely. If you want to live a magnificent, extravagant lifestyle, that's fine. But you should always think something like this can happen. But you have all these people now who are suffering. And think about it. Studios aren't stupid. They got more money than anybody. They can wait it out because sooner or later, they'll change the rules to where you don't have to be SAG or you don't have to be part of the Writers Guild, where you can have exemptions, which they have out there right now. A little odd to me. Now, I'm no damn expert on this. These are all my opinions because I like to read. I'm not the most educated man in the world, but I'm one of the smartest three. The other are Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg. But those two idiots are going to box. Think about that. Did you see? Oh, it's MMA, right?
Yeah, I think so.
They're going to fight, and the money's going to go to veterans. They're going to fight in Rome. And according to Elon Musk, he spoke with the minister of this and the minister. No one cares who you know, buddy. You got a brilliant mind. Who's going to pay to watch you two beat the... I don't even know you can beat the crap.
Who do you think would win?
Neither one of them. Jesus
So
fucking...
Zuckerberg, supposedly he wore a mask and did this MMA training and like won a competition, but nobody knew it was him the whole time.
You know, good for him. You know, when you got to pretend that you need to be something else, it's kind of like, in Mexico, they have the wrestling where they all wear masks.
Oh, yeah, like Nacho Libres.
Yes. Well, you know, good for you, Mark. First of all, I don't know what to say. Hopefully, if you're going to do it, you raise money. But hopefully, both of you get the shit beat out of each other. Because then you can understand what it feels like when people are dealing with your fucking companies and you fuck them over. What's this new thing that he created? Snitch?
Threads.
Threads, really? You did a great job creating it. Didn't go anywhere. Not going anywhere. You can't copy somebody else. And last time I checked, Didn't you borrow something from a couple twins? And those are some ugly motherfucking twins. I got to give it to you. Maybe you wanted to borrow what their process is and their thoughts. They had some big-ass heads and big-ass cheeks. Now, not knocking twins, because I have a couple of friends that are twins, and they're wonderful people. But you deserve to get your ass kicked just for that. And Elon Musk going into Twitter, doing whatever the hell you're doing, I mean, ego, brilliance probably go hand in hand. Remember, some of the greatest men in history, and I say men because these were men like some of the Caesars. How many different Caesars can you have, by the way? The only thing I've ever really thought about, there's Caesar salad. And now you got 20 different Caesars. Everybody had a different one. Yeah, a Caesar was this, a Caesar was that. How many of these men, their power drove them to insanity? Quite a few. Another thing, Elon, if you're going to wear shirts that are so tight, god damn, wear a jacket over it. Shows you getting at races, getting out of a car or something. I just don't know what it was, but it's like, no one wants to see that. Dress a little more appropriate. That's all I got to say. But when you're trying to make something happen that's unrealistic in our lives, do you give up? The reason why I ask that is I've tried for years to do certain things. I've made a lot of money, lost a lot of money, thrown a lot of money away, got a lot of money for the right reasons, the wrong reasons, but I've never given up on myself. And you shouldn't give up on yourself. As long as you're not hurting anybody, taking from other people. When so many people say, well, you need to stop, you've been at it. A lot of people, when someone wants to be a singer, a model, an actress, and people say, hey, you've been doing it, you've not succeeded. What is success? Success isn't just money. There are people, it's always interesting when people compare Broadway to television and film. Well, everybody goes hand in hand now. People mix, they do all of it. There are people who love theater. They'd never do TV and film. Maybe because they can't. But some TV and film people, as it's proven, when they go to do Broadway, they suck. So stick in your lane, but don't let anybody ruin your dreams. It's like I said this before the other day on a show, and I'll say this. Look, I have a purpose every morning. I've had my purpose for years before any of you have a fucking opinion about anything I say. And you should live your life that way, because when you allow other people's opinions to dictate what you're doing, how you feel, how you look, how you dress, how you have sex, it gets fucking exhausting. Because the reality is 99% of people out there don't give a fuck about us, and they don't even know we exist. Good example, when I was younger, there used to be this place in Sacramento, California. And it was a club I used to go dancing. And it was hilarious. It was called the Phone Company. Now think about this. So at all the tables, there were phones. So you could pick the phone up and call a table, and someone there. It was pretty cool. I'm sitting there one day, and I'm like, and this beautiful girl sitting across the way, and she's staring at me. Okay, I'm staring at her. She starts walking towards me. I'm like, oh my God, this could be very fun. Next thing I know, she looks at the clock above my head. That was one of the first times, and made me realize that I'm not the center of anybody's universe. It's pretty embarrassing, because I said hello to her, and she's like, excuse me, I'm just wanting to see the time. I'm like, could you have let me down any better? You think about it. How about one night stand, since we're talking about nightclubs? How many of you have had a one night stand? I always wonder why they call it a one night stand. Every man I've ever met, every woman I've ever met that has had a one night stand always wonders, why didn't they call? What did I do wrong? Sometimes one night stands turn into the best relationships you'll ever have in your life. Or they turn into friendships. Or they could, put you behind bars. Depends on what you want to do. But the reality is, one night stands, people, if you like something, try it. What do you got to lose? Be safe, be smart. Don't do it when you're drunk. Don't do it when you're high. But enjoy life. But one night stands, a lot of people get upset. When someone asks, a good example, I was with someone once, and they said to me, have you ever done this before? And I looked at her and I said, done what? She goes, just met somebody and had sex. I said, oh, of course. We stopped. She was more than appalled. I said, why are you upset? We just met each other. She goes, I just can't believe that you would do this. I said, what's my name? She looked at me, she said, your name is Donald. I said, bingo, come on. So we don't judge other people. Enjoy it. And guys, stop this pretentious bullshit about where you don't get your feelings hurt. You're a macho guy. You're going to sleep with all the different girls. No one cares. Women, if you want to sleep with a lot of men, go sleep with them. Do what you want. Don't let society tell you that you can't do certain things. Don't let society state that you can't enjoy yourself. Sad that we label women when they have a good time, but men are supposed to be macho. No, I know a lot of guys that want to be macho, and they are the least macho human beings in the world. And one thing to identify yourself with, don't let the fact that other people might be attracted to you make you feel as if you're more important or better than others. It's interesting. People always say, well, Los Angeles, New York, big towns, people are arrogant. They're everywhere. Small town, big town, whatever. Always somebody thinks they're better than somebody because they're considered attractive. But remember this. Everybody likes something different, whether you're tall, whether you're skinny, whether you're heavy, whether you're African-American, whether you're Asian, whether you're Hispanic, whether you're European, whether you're white, whatever it is, not everybody's going to like us. So don't try to get everybody to like you. Don't need everybody to like you. Okay? Another thing I wanted to talk about, which I think is interesting. How many of you ever send pictures of yourself to that person you're in a relationship with? To your husband or to your boyfriend, to your girlfriend, to your lover during the day? It's very risque, very sexual. I'm sure many people have. You should not do it if you're under fucking 18. You see a lot of these kids out there doing it nowadays. Number one, it's going to hurt you more than you think. It's going to destroy you more than you think. And you have no idea who you're sending it to at times. There's so many men out there and women. You see so many women out there nowadays that are having sex with high school kids, but you don't really see the anger towards that as you do if it's a man. Both should pay the price. But if you're going to send pictures, be smart about it. Realize that they're always going to be out there. Doesn't matter. You could be in a relationship 10 years from now, you get married to somebody else. That other person's going to have those pictures. Nothing wrong with you doing what you're doing, but just be smart. And God, guys, I could tell you this, all the females I know, don't send dick pics. Jesus fucking Christ, they don't want to see those. They really don't. And if they do, well, I guess they do. But today we've talked about a lot of things, or at least I've talked about a lot of things, and I enjoy myself talking. As you can imagine, I enjoy hearing my voice. Mark was telling me today that there are people that come in and do shows that, put the headphones on and they can hear themselves. I would fucking go nuts if I had to hear myself in this conversation. Mark, you got anything to throw in here today?
Yeah, I had something. What is your stance on going back to, because you waited tables before, right?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that it would serve society positively if everybody was a waiter at some point in their lives?
I think that there's certain jobs people should have an opportunity or to do because you learn gratitude, you learn service, you learn structure, you have to be on time. You have to interact with people. There are a lot of people. I deal with doctors. I deal with doctors who do a lot of research and then they don't know how to communicate with people. They're doctors, they're brilliant, but if you can't communicate, I think that everybody should have to work certain jobs. Working at a hotel, front desk at a hotel, working certain service jobs. I think some other countries, when you have to do the military, it should be back to mandatory for at least 2 years. Doesn't mean you go to war, but there's so many amazing things you take from that. But I do believe that some type of service, whether it's the restaurant, fast food, in play, I think it's great.
Yeah.
I think that, interesting that you bring that up. The other day I was watching something on news and some guy was talking about, well, now you go into a store, a hardware store, and they have a tip jar. A lot of people have had it hard since the pandemic, even before. So it's not that you're tipping someone just because they're there. You're tipping for service. No matter where I go or what I do, I tip. I don't give a damn what it is. And that's the way that I believe it should be done. But I think that people, if you work in a restaurant, there's so many different things you take away from it.
Yeah. So this was my last day waiting tables on Sunset Boulevard. I want to see how you would handle this situation, right? So the night before, you got food poisoning. You don't even want, you call the boss, hey, listen, I can't come in tomorrow at 6 a.m. And then she says that she needs you. This is the only day, just come in for like 4 hours, right?
That is not a fan.
Yeah. All right, so I'm coming and I'm just supposed to break everybody that day. Just give them a break. So I go in and at this certain place we wouldn't necessarily have a manager on duty, right?
Uh-huh.
So I go in, my buddy Tony is like, hey, all right, you're gonna break me first. And I'm like, okay, cool. And he says, but just the table on one of the tables has been very difficult just to be aware of them, right? Now, this table's been difficult the whole time getting their order and everything, so I'm like, don't even worry about it. Usually I'm the guy that can kill everybody with kindness, but this is like 10 years into me being a waiter, and I've exhausted all of my niceness. So I'm like, don't even worry about it. Just go into the back. He goes in back, he takes his break. All the food comes out. It's perfect. It's amazing. It's quick. It's breakfast. Bring it to the table, and the couple look at it, and then the gentleman goes, he starts poking at everything and just complaining about every single thing. He said,
Did he put his finger in everything, or
yeah,
just?
yeah, like he was like, this is supposed to be over medium, it's over easy. This is this is this. How would you respond?
Well, first of all, when you put your finger in food, you're white fucking trash. Number one, you're looking for something for free. You're a pathetic, vile human being. Because if there's an issue, taste the food first. I couldn't tell you the difference between well done and done unless I cut open a piece of meat. Mm-hmm. I personally would have either lost my job or I would have sat down with him and cut it open for him. I've lost, in my life, 4 jobs at restaurants because someone would be an asshole to me. And I don't believe this shit where the customer's always right, because you're fucking not. That's the bottom line. You know what? There's a lot of good things you could have done to someone like that. You could have said, yes, sir, you're right. You know, could you explain to me how this could be? You know, what can I do to better? Or I would explain, sir, do you live alone? Do you get out very often? Yeah. Do you actually know how to cook? Because if you did, this is the real way. You might cook at home by yourself. Here I am talking about I cook by myself at home all the time. I couldn't. How
do you think I responded?
You getting to know you, even though you were, I think you probably snapped for the first time and you were almost getting your ass out of there. So what do you fucking got to lose? What'd you do?
So it was maybe not the first time I snapped, but it was the final time. It was the straw that broke the camel's back. So I said, hey, excuse me, sir, let me just ask you a question then. How about the butter? Is it too melted or is it not melted enough? Or what about the ice? Is there ice? Is it high enough? And then he looked at me and goes, what? And I said, and he said, I want to talk to your manager. I told you there's no manager on the duty. It's just my buddy who's on break who told me about them. So I told him already not to even worry about them. So I go back to the back where he's like out smoking or something. I'm like, hey, man, remember that table you warned me about? He was like, yeah. I said, yeah, they want to talk to you. Meanwhile, we go back there and he's like, I'll get this place shut down. I got so many Snapchat followers. Oh. And that told you exactly the kind of person it was. And we kicked him
Isn't it amazing when people pull that shit about what you're going to do as an individual? I'm going to ruin this restaurant. I'm going to ruin your career. I'm going to do this. It's like blackmail, for Christ's sake. And the reality is, God bless you. Because, hey, look, when someone has it, there's something going on. There literally is something in their life, loneliness, certain things. They might have issues and stuff. But if you're going to go in fucking public, don't do that. Don't fucking. I've had multiple people say to me, I'm going to get you fired. I'm like, who do you want to call? Ghostbusters? Because that's the only fucking person that's going to listen to you, you fucking idiot. And it's amazing that people would get that way. That you get to that point where you're like, I'm going to do. Look, it's nice to think we're powerful, and some of us are. I'm a warlock. I watch that from the movies, and I have some of the different takes. Okay, fuck y'all. But anyhow, the reality is you don't want to do that. And people feel important. It's like, you ever have friends that you tell a story and they top the fucking story? It's like, here's a kicker for me. I'm sorry. People don't like this. AA meetings, OA meetings, NA meetings. You go and you hear stories, and there's some wonderful camaraderie. There's wonderful helping. But one motherfucker's topping everybody else. I OV'd twice. Well, fuck, I OV'd 6 times. I OV'd when I was at the movie, and I took myself to the hospital. Really? You took yourself to the hospital? It's like I deal with people. One of the questions people ask, like, if someone's had a seizure. If I ask you if you had a seizure and you tell me yes, and you explain how it is, you didn't have a seizure, because you can't during the session have a seizure. It's like if you black out, what happened during the blackout? Yeah. But people who do that in restaurants, it's not just restaurants, it's a lot of different businesses. I have a little ritual. I come here, I go, I get something to drink at a certain gas station. 3 weeks ago, this man says to the lady, he goes, ma'am, I'm waiting in line to get gas. And she's like, okay. And he's like, well, I've been waiting for 30 minutes. She goes, well, sir, you have to drive your car up to the tank. And I look outside and his car is like not even close to the tank. And he's like, ma'am, you don't understand. I came in here to pay you first. And she goes, okay, so pay me. He goes, I just think it's rude of you to make a comment like that. Well, who the hell goes to a gas station, parks your car not in front of a tank or whatever the freak it is, and goes in to pay? He got upset over that. Or what kills me, you ever go to fast food and get something to drink?
Of course.
Okay, go to McDonald's, get a large iced tea. No ice. Get a lot. Get a medium or small. You get the same thing if you don't get ice. It's kind of like people don't realize this stuff. Or what kills me is when you go to a fast food and it says, like, there's this place called Cane's. I would never eat it, but it only has certain things. And you go there and you want something different. A friend of mine the other day said she went to In-N-Out. I said, how was it? She goes, well, they didn't have a chili cheeseburger. I'm like, is it on the menu? No, but I'm sure they have chili, cheese, burger. And I'm laughing so hard. I said, it's not on the menu. I would, to me, waiting in line. And she was pissed because I said, why would you wait in line? You knew it didn't have that. Well, special. Now, me, when I go to restaurants, I like to order special food. And I like it my way. Just like that song, My Way. But anyhow, I also make sure that I compensate who's ever helping me. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the right thing to do. When you come in there, and I like when people order, I'd like the Chinese chicken salad, but I'd like no Chinese noodles. I'd like no crunchies. I'd like no almonds. I'd like the dressing on the side. And can you add the chicken that comes with the other sauce? And I'd like a little bit. It's not a Chinese chicken salad, you jackass. It's something different. Or what kills me too, at restaurants, and this I'm always amazed, Cheesecake Factory, it's a perfect example. Whenever they fuck up, they offer you a piece of cheesecake. I was in there about 3 weeks ago. There's one down in, it's off of Beach Boulevard. It's down in Orange County. They screwed up my meal. Manager comes up, sir, we're going to give you a piece of cheesecake. I said, sir, how long have you seen me coming in? He goes, well, you come in a lot. You've been coming in for a couple of years. I said, you ever seen me eat a piece of cheesecake? He's like, no. I said, so why in the fuck would you offer me a 75-cent piece of cheesecake? I don't want anything for free. I want you to fix what I want. And don't have a waiter bring it out. He took my order and he brought it wrong. I said, maybe whoever trained him needs to get fired. He goes, well, sir, I trained him. I said, well, then you deserve to get fired. I said, I don't care what you have to offer me. Just do it right. But when there are people who go and look for that free cheesecake, or here's even better, you ever use a coupon, 2 for 1?
That's at some point, probably.
Okay, but would you ever take your girlfriend to a restaurant, whip out a 2 for 1? I had a friend of mine, this is about 5 or 6 years ago. I'm over at his house, and he tells me he's going to take this very nice girl. She showed up. We had a great conversation. Going to take her to a place that we talked about earlier. I don't want to mention the name.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there on a Sunday, and football Sunday's his day. Never goes anywhere, but with this girl he wanted to. About 20 minutes later, he comes back. I'm like, did you get it to go? He goes, no. And he calls me DH. He goes, DH, I fucked up. I said, what'd you do? He goes, well, I pulled out a coupon. I'm like, what the fuck? He goes, yeah, she got up and left. I said, why wouldn't she get up and left? How cheap are you? This was your first date. Well, I said, no, there's no Now, I understand that restaurants during the pandemic, and they give special offers and 2 for 1, and, the senior citizens, and they give you all these, that's fine. But when you go looking for shit like that, I'm always amazed when someone pulls out a coupon. But here's the thing. If you pull out a coupon and it's 2 for 1, you're getting 2 meals for 1. If it's at a regular restaurant, you need to still tip the person.
Yeah.
It makes no sense that people are so fuck. And look, there are people who work paycheck to paycheck. I respect that. I grew up in a family like that. I'm not shaming you. I'm not saying anything. But don't go out and expect the world if you're not going to be equally compensate. You don't have to give them 20%. You give them something. It just kills me. It's like whenever I go to dinner, I will never let the other person pay. It's just the way I am. Yeah. Because number one, many people want to pay for whatever reasons I don't know, and I don't care.
Yeah, do you believe this term that there's no such thing as a free lunch?
Oh, fuck no. I don't give a shit if it's your wife or your husband you're going to lunch with. Because reality is if you both earn the money, you're still paying for it. When it comes to business and friendship, no. I'm always amazed because there are many people who look at little things like that and say, okay, I bought him lunch. And there are a lot of us that have been guilted and shamed in the past to feel guilt about things.
Yeah.
I don't take anything for free. I won't let anybody buy me anything. Even if I'm eating a little bit, I'll pay for it. Because I number one, I like doing that and I think it's nice. But no, there are people, I go to meetings, people's like, well, you need to eat lunch. I'm like, I don't eat lunch in a meeting. Well, it makes me feel uncomfortable. Well, here's some other things that are going to make you feel uncomfortable. I don't care. That's a you problem. Yeah. It's not a me problem. But those things when it comes to business, and I always amazed, when you go to lunch and it's business, you really don't get a lot accomplished.
So many people, and that's what actually Elon talks about this. If you're in a meeting and you're not adding anything to the meeting and you don't need to be here, get out of here and go do your job. If a lot of people do these hour or 2 hour lunches, it could have been a 10-minute conversation on a phone call, but people like going out there and schmoozing.
It's interesting that people like to go to nice restaurants and pretend that they would never spend a dime out of their own fucking pocket.
Yeah,
and that's okay. But again, we're going back to pretending to be something you're not. And it's kind of like I work with private individuals and I talk to them and I'll say, look, okay, you're going to call me today. You got 5 minutes, not 4 minutes and 49 seconds, not 5 minutes and 1 second, because you can get a lot done in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
If not, you let them repeat themselves. And when you go, I go to, in my field of work, sometimes there's meetings that are an hour, 90 minutes. People will bring their lunch. You know damn well no one's paying attention. 4 months ago, I gave a presentation to a group of therapists and people. Everyone in the room was eating. So when I was done, I said, you know what? Now I'm going to pass this out. It's a quiz. These are 5 questions you need to answer before you leave. Not one person was able to, no one paid attention because they didn't care. Yeah. They got a free lunch. Well, it's like, let's go back to Big Pharma, you cocksuckers. Remember when they would they'd take doctors on trips, they'd buy them lunch, they'd take food, thousands of dollars every Friday, they'd have it for their meds, their pills or whatever. They didn't give a shit about you, but doctors are greedy. People who work in doctors' offices are greedy. Hospitals greedy. Everybody's greedy to a point. Well, you know what? They're going to bring lunch. No, because here's the way I look at it. You need a clear mind, stuff like that. So if someone's bringing pizza and you're all eating pizza, it has an effect on your mind. If they're bringing sweets, it has an effect on your work. Good example. 3 years ago, I was asked to do something for a company. I said, okay, so what I want to do is I want to prove to you some of these employees, you got them here 8 hours, they're not working 8 hours. I said, what we're going to do when the office closes, we're going to go look in everybody's drawer and see what we got. 9 drawers. 7-Eleven didn't have all the food these people had. And they're snacking throughout the day. Now, no one's taking that away. But when it's candy, it's chips, it's all these things, it affects your work ability. You get tired easily. You don't think as quick as you can. People don't want to hear it. It's the truth. Yeah. It's like, if I ever have sweets, they're at night. If it's got to be pitch black at night, I don't know how people eat sweets during the day. Mm-hmm. If I had sweets right now, I'd be laying in here throughout the whole day because my mind just wouldn't function. I eat sweets and I go to bed just because I'm exhausted physically because I don't eat them a lot. I haven't eaten them in quite a while.
Isn't that something with like in the construction world too? Like they'll do lunch at a specific time because they know if you don't eat at a certain time, you're like negative returns.
Well, a lot of places you need to eat a certain time, and jobs like that. I mean, Jesus, someone can die if you're not paying attention. But you ever seen the construction sites? I live downtown. They bring a freaking igloo like this. Yeah. You know, it's full of Gatorade, but 3 sandwiches, 4 pork of this. It's like, mother of God. And you only get 1 lunch break. Yeah. And it's just, I think we live in a world where, United States, where there's a lot of gluttony. But gluttony based upon how you're brought up, you don't know any better. Facts. A lot of people don't. If this is all I've known, why would we? There's no excuses for it, but we can make those changes. But when it comes to business, it's like when there's meetings, people get us, oh, we're going to have lunch. I mean, nothing wrong with that, but also it's very tacky when you're looking forward to going for something free. Yeah. And it doesn't matter how much money you have. I had a roommate years ago, multi-millionaire investor, just money up to yin-yang. This son of a bitch, fucking, he'd go out and he'd pull out his phone, calculating at freaking, this is the tip. And I'm like, okay, we're kind of in public here. Let's just, cheapest human being in the world. Yeah. Personally, do anything in the world for me. But cheapest human being in the world. And I don't understand that mentality. I grew up with a mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. No dad. We were poor. We were dirt poor. But we had everything my mom and them could give us. And we were taught lessons how to treat people. And I talk about it on Living My Mind. I'm a certain type of human being. And not the best. I got a lot of issues. I deal with them. I am who I am, and I'm fine with that. But I always give you the respect you deserve. Now, when you show me you don't deserve it, God bless you, God bless me. That's all I got to say. But the most important thing that I want you to remember, I got a purpose in life, and your opinion doesn't matter to me. This is Dennis with My Opinion. You're welcome. We've had a great day. Thank you, Mark, for participating. And all you waiters and waitresses, go on strike! See how these Hollywood fuckers take it when they can't come to the restaurant to smooze with you. Thank you very much. God bless America. You can also, all social media, the number below here, you can text or you can call. Engage us, ask questions, be part of it, and thank you for your time. I appreciate you very much.